Welcome to the Bodcast episode 11, Easter special. And in this episode, we are going to go through client case studies. So thank you so much to everyone who sent those through. And we feel this is going to be, really interesting, and hopefully you find it helpful. We are fueled by hot cross buns and croissants and copious coffee. And Andy has designed a very cool Easter egg hunt for the girls.
Is it there?
Oh, well, we did try to podcast yesterday, and then we had a power outage and our generator didn't work. Now Andy has a power outage, but his generator works, but his internet is notorious.
That's why he's frozen at
Ulysses looking happy if you're watching this. He's got a very smug face on.
The YouTube, this is what YouTube will see for 1 minute.
Andy's happy face. Well, I hope everyone is having... Oh, you're back! We've been just telling everyone very nice things about you, Andy. Don't worry.
There's a minute of you frozen.
That was a very nice face.
Yeah, I think the internet is not good.
Okay, so I've just changed.
Oh no.
It's changing over.
Anyway.
Well, I think we will forge ahead. Andy will join us. So we are going to go through 2 case studies, maybe more today. And we are going to give our advice for training and nutrition. So we'll just give Andy a minute or so. Let's see if he comes back on.
Yeah, I think he's switching his internet, maybe from Wi-Fi to data.
Yeah,
it's been interesting Easter with power going.
Yeah, who does a power outage on Easter weekend?
Yeah,
Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very special. But it's been a delicious Easter weekend. So many treats.
Yeah, I was able to take a small break from my usual diet and enjoy some cronuts and croissants. You know.
Cronuts, croissant, pain au chocolat, hot
but,
cross bun, ice cream.
But I kept to my usual meals, like nothing changed, just added a few treats here and there.
Excellent.
Excellent. But I what do I call it? Mental health break.
Mental health break. That's what Leo's calling his cronut feast.
I've decided to be calling rather than use the word cheat meal.
Cheat meal is the worst.
Yeah,
refuel. It's a refueling.
Yeah, I like refuel.
I'll mental health break. But I think it only counts when I guess you're competing with bodybuilding, where you're very certain things when it comes to nutrition have to count. You know, your nutrient timing and the foods you eat. But for day-to-day Gen Pop, it's nothing for you to really worry about. So. Yeah.
It takes a lot of calories to put on a pound of body fat.
It does.
Yeah, it does not happen overnight.
It doesn't happen after one cookie.
Exactly.
No, you've got to be like Andy and eat at least 10 hot cross buns.
For 10 days.
For 10 days.
Yeah, and I probably could easily. I only buy a certain amount of packets when I'm in the UK. Yeah. The good thing about the UK is you get hot cross buns all year round.
Yeah.
Because I know as soon as they're in the house, I'll eat them all. And the more I have in the house, I will keep going. And suddenly realise I've gone through two packets. Actually, quite funny. I was thinking about something. If someone's saying that, I love cinnamon rolls as well. And I very rarely get them for this reason, because I do love them. They are terribly sugary and fatty and everything else, and amazing at the same time. I got a sharer one. You know, you get like 4 in a little tray from Tesco's or whatever the shop. Yeah, Tesco's. And I was eating them, and I was like, okay, I'll save Kat one. I said to Kat, I've saved you one. And she went to eat it, and it wasn't there. I can't remember eating it. I was eating it. I was in like an eating zone. I could have no mindfulness whatsoever with eating them.
It's like you've had.
I honestly thought she'd come in and taken it and eaten it. I was like, no, you must have taken it. She goes, I really didn't. I was like,
yeah, like you had 2 and counted it as 1, and then
You slept.
I must have been like this.
Yeah, just
but
down the
yeah,
hatch.
I think that's probably me and donuts. And now with the Cultiva Cronuts, it's just buy them when I'm getting I'm in my I need my mental health space, but
100%.
we
I
have them,
know
yeah?
certain things I can't have in the house.
Yeah.
I struggle to have chocolate in the house, but if the girls are there and it's theirs, I won't steal it.
Yeah.
So that's okay. I can do that. But I couldn't have hot cross buns in the house because one, the girls don't particularly like them, and I find that offensive because I love them. So I'll eat them. And then the other one is cinnamon rolls. If I even struggle to go past like a cinnabon. If you ever go like places like South Africa where they have cinnabon or Dubai, or I can't even walk past that place. As soon as I smell them, I'm like, like I'm turning, I'm going. Like I can't stop myself. Yeah. So certain things I just avoid. I would just destroy them.
Yeah.
Because I remember with when starting with JP in Jan, he asked what's the one thing like that'll just make this, the meal plan work for you, and I say chocolate. So was kind enough to include it in my last meal of the day.
Did it include decent chocolate, or is it just really dark
chocolate?
Deep dark.
He said nothing less than 70%.
Yeah. Which is okay, because the good thing about that, I love chocolate, and I even like dark chocolate, but you can't eat too much, 75%.
Yeah.
80%, you have one square, and you're like, well, I do.
I guess that's the problem with I guess it's milk chocolate, like the
milk chocolate.
Milk. Yeah, I
so sweet.
Easily finish the whole. So
I could eat a kilo without even thinking about it. Like, you get the big kilo bars of Galaxy or Cadbury's Dairy Milk. I could finish one of those without a bit non-mindfulness. Like if I was watching a film or something, that'd be
like, oh no.
The dark chocolate is nice. You get your 2, I guess 30 gram bars, and once you're done, I used to have them with like raspberries and my protein.
They're relatively good for you. I'm not going to say they're great for you, but like we've got good fats, cocoa solids, high cocoa solids, which are great fats.
Yeah.
The sugar's relatively low in dark chocolate. Compared to some of the milk chocolate. So it's not,
Yeah, 1 to 2 squares a day.
Yeah.
So in moderation, dark chocolate's really good for you.
Yeah.
In moderation.
You heard that here.
Not like.
Yeah, not bars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bars and bars.
Let us get into the studies. I'm reading them from the screen, so if you're watching this and my face is in your face, I'm sorry.
I think the internet has stabilized, so
stabilized. Okay, case study 1. Oh, no, this one. Okay. So, come back. Okay. So our first lady is 40 years old. She is 1.72 meters, so that's 172 centimeters. Don't ask for me to give you that in feet because I don't know. 65 kilos. So
5'7".
5'7"? 5'7"? Yeah, I can't do the
5'7", maybe.
I can't do that. Okay, I'm reading this from the first person perspective. Okay, I would say until about 2018, my training was inconsistent, mainly focused on cardio such as running and the occasional 12-week, 3 days a week outdoor boot camp program, which at least added variation in exercises. I was definitely focused on maintenance of weight, some weight loss, and a bit of fitness for health reasons. I joined a private gym in July 2018, and the classes were in a small group setup, focused on strength, sort of weights, medicine balls, ropes, etc., abs, and some cardio. I absolutely love the gym, the challenges that weights and a variety of weighted exercises add to your fitness routine, and I like to see how one grows stronger and can do more. I go to the gym 4 times a week in the morning for 1 hour. I've always had a fairly balanced lifestyle in terms of what I eat. I don't diet, but I try to eat healthy, incorporating all food groups and sensible portion sizes into my diet. I don't just cook for myself, so restriction on food groups or very specific menu plans are tricky to follow through. I try to drink a lot of water and limit tea and coffee. I do drink wine, but I try to be sensible about the amount of wine and the days on which I have wine. i.e. not every day of the week. I love it already. I think in terms of the goals I have, I still struggle with toning, especially midsection, hips, glutes. And although I am not fat, I feel conscious that I could be more firm, but also stronger. I do not have a weight goal. I guess in terms of gym, I would love to be able to do a proper pull-up and have strong ab muscles that I have worked hard for. Right. Well, I love the kind of evolution of, you know, from cardio to kind of boot camp to the gym. And it's amazing that you love the gym. That is always a plus, where it's not sort of, you know, a hardship for you to go. And I think 4 times a week is great. And the whole, you know, the approach to nutrition sounds very sustainable and healthy. You know, you can still have wine, but in moderation. So, I mean, what I would say is you've been doing kind of group classes. You might want to think about following a, you know, a strength and hypertrophy muscle building program specifically for you, because you want,
especially if you want to do pull-ups.
Yeah, you want to work on your strength. You know, you want to tone, build glutes, you know, and so for that, or I actually just recently did a IGTV on group fitness classes. Like, you'll get somewhere, but then you'll kind of plateau. It has to be a bit more specific and tailored for you, where you apply the principle of progressive overload, which is what you need for strength and to build muscle.
I think with group classes, they're a great way to get cardio in.
Yeah.
But for hypertrophy, like, you know, she uses the word toned, but what we really mean is she wants to build some muscle. She wants to see her abs, so she needs to lose body fat. So it's a recomposition, you know, loss of body fat, increase in muscle. You're not going to get that from group classes. You are very unlikely to get it from group classes, you know, especially if you've been doing them for a while and it's not happened for you. You need to change your strategy a little bit. But, you know, interesting. I did like what she said about trying to have a balanced thing, having your glass of wine, because that's the correct way of doing it. You know, enjoy what you're doing. I would be interested, though, to have her, if, you know, my client, I would say track a week. Let's see what you're naturally eating, because you may surprise yourselves. You know, what you think is balanced is actually you put a bit more sauce on than you think. It's not until you're more, we're talking about at the start of this podcast, mindfulness. It's easy to eat unmindfully and, you know, consume way more than you thought you had. And that happens a lot when you think you're eating a nice balanced meal and you're focused on having just that one glass of wine and being sensible with your wine consumption. You forget you've just put that tomato ketchup, or you've had some mayo on the side, or something you may not think about. A lot of people don't even realize sometimes you get pre-packed salads from restaurants or whatever, covered in, you know, oil and vinegar, or, you know, some sort of dressing that you haven't even considered the calories involved in that. So it doesn't have to be, I ate, like, you know, a pie, or I ate, you know, a donut. You know, very easily, through lack of mindfulness, it's a small things that add up over a longer period of time.
Yeah. And sorry. Let's say, so you know, you don't have to use MyFitnessPal and count and track and weigh all your food. But like Andy said, you know, for 1 week, you could use MyFitnessPal just for 1 week, or you could just keep a food diary and just, you know, log down the times you eat the times you eat everything, And it's very interesting, you know, and if you want to build muscle, you've got to make sure you're getting in enough protein. And I would say the majority of people aren't.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's eating consistently. And you can even just start with the 3 balanced meals, consistent meals, and 2 snacks. But each of those main meals, you want to be getting in a very decent amount of protein.
As I say, that's a nail on the head. I think everyone who is just trying to eat balanced meals and have a very intuitive approach underdoes protein.
Yeah.
So to realize, and especially women.
Yep.
You know, women don't realize that, you know, everyone needs, you know, probably I always say at least a gram per pound of body, body weight, at least in your protein source is a good average to go with.
Yeah.
So 1 pound per gram per pound, 1 gram per pound of body weight should be your daily protein intake. So, that means if you are 100 pound, you should be having at least 100 grams of protein a day. So, that's a good rough thing. But until you actually look at what you're consuming, it's hard to understand what that actually is. And I'm all for balance and doing things naturally once you realize what your protein intake should look like.
Yeah. I often start people, especially women, if you're doing that sort of 1 gram per pound, sometimes it gets up to 140, 150. I'll often just say, start, and they'll be eating under 100. I'm like, start consistently with, trying to hit 110, 120 grams of protein, and just, and also learn how to spread that out throughout the day. So breakfast, I find a lot of people, that's where they struggle to get in protein, especially if you're sort of more of a sweet tooth. But there are so many ideas out there. You can have protein oats.
I think the problem is a lot of people skip breakfast. I think that's
true as well. Yeah.
And then when you end up trying to have to get in your protein intake into just a couple of meals, and the issue there is when I say a pound per gram, I always say that's of your ideal body weight, of your goal body weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, do that based on what your weight will be in a couple of weeks. Not like ridiculous goal, but like step back a little bit. So, and same if you're bulking, you say, like, what's my goal for 4 weeks, 8 weeks? Let's base my protein on that goal, and then go for that. Because then you're eating for a goal. But generally, I think don't skip breakfast. And you're right, people have things like toast for breakfast, maybe with 1 egg, but actually that's not a great lot of protein there.
Like maybe 7 grams, 8, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And so go, if you go for, I try and go for 40 grams of protein per meal, but I eat quite a lot of protein. So, at least go for 20 grams in every single meal, and then you're not going to be, left with a huge chunk of protein to eat at your dinner. So try and spread it out. If you're using your hand for portion size, it's a palm size serving of protein. Big palms. Yeah. So if you're eating eggs, don't go for 1 egg, go for 3, go for 3 whole eggs and then some egg whites, and then you can make a really nice omelette with veggies.
Egg whites aren't particularly filling. Whole eggs can be a bit filling. So, if you are, maybe 1 or 2 whole eggs and a lot more egg white, and then you won't fill up and blocked up. Not everyone does well with eggs, or things like, one of my favorite things is something like a homemade eggs Benedict type thing with a egg, salmon, a little bit of ham, and just skip the sauce. That sort of thing will pump up your protein quite nicely. On a bagel.
I mean, my favorite breakfast is just oats with protein powder and delicious peanut butter.
Delicious.
Any nut butter,
bits of fruit,
berries.
So
quick. There's, people say, I don't have time. Like, it literally takes 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah. To be fair, my breakfast is normally chicken and rice or beef and rice.
And it can be, it doesn't have to.
It can be. I don't think you need to focus on breakfast food. I always have this conversation with people.
Yeah.
Kat's like the opposite. She wants breakfast food for breakfast. I'm like, I'll eat anything for breakfast. It's food.
I eat both what you guys eat. So my first one is whey and oats or seeds, and then pre-workout is pretty much rice and chicken and peas or spinach. Okay.
So just focus on that for every meal. And then snacks, I also say try and keep high protein, because A, to help you hit your protein goal, B, because they do keep you fuller for longer. So you can, you can have beef jerky, biltong, your rice cakes with nut butter. Greek yogurt is a great one. Cottage cheese.
To be fair, oats again. Oats, a small, oats and protein is actually a great snack. Or rice pudding in protein. If you go, like, if you're in the UK or somewhere where you can get like the low fat rice puddings, like from Tesco's or Sainsbury's, they're actually quite good on their macros. The protein's relatively high in those.
Yeah.
Fat quite low. And then you then mix it in with some protein powder. It's delicious. And same with oats. I love oats with protein powder. I think, make a protein porridge. I could have that at any point of the day. If I needed to top up with some carbs and protein, I would.
I know, whenever I post on my stories, I'm like, what shall I have to finish my protein and carbs? And it's like, protein oats.
Yeah, because it's delicious and you can get it down easy.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have protein powder, but it is so convenient and versatile. And if you, I find a lot of clients just like, oh, it's so much meat, or just volume of whatever protein source. That then you could think about getting a good quality protein powder, because if you go, okay, it's quite expensive initially, at the start, but if you do it compared it to actual, what am I trying to say, like gram of protein, it's probably cheaper than a lot of meat.
I was gonna say, I like to use, and same with kids actually. Kids, a bit like a lot of people, have low protein intake compared to what they should do for their growing bodies. Kids will often grab some toast, stick it in a toaster, have just toast as a snack. I try to then top up Kaya's diet with some whey isolate, make it into sort of a milkshake type thing, so she enjoys it. Maybe put some fruits in. That's to make sure she's getting, although this is away from a case study, just to make sure, and anyone can do this. Whey isolate doesn't have anything but whey protein in. You mix that in with some fruit, stick it in a blender with a bit of water or a bit of skim milk or milk, and you will have a delicious drink, which will then top up your protein by 20 to 30 grams of protein.
Easy. It's a no-brainer.
I guess it all takes time. I would even suggest keeping that diary for longer than even a week, and just, identify foods you eat a lot and you enjoy. Because she said they eat as a family, so
which is nice. I think that's great.
Yeah, you can identify foods that are always in the house and sort of even come up with like a, how a lot of families have, Monday it's chapati and this, Tuesday, and actually that might help come up with a diary and even a family sort of structure for eating.
Yeah, I like that, Leon, actually, because I think you can actually plan your week quite nicely, making sure the family meal's got a decent amount of protein for everyone.
Yeah.
And and my mum was always the same, but different. But we would have set things on set days.
Yes.
That is what we have every Monday. This is what we have every Tuesday for your main meal. And it's a great way of knowing, it's Easter Sunday today. So after this call, I'm gonna do Easter egg hunt, but then I'm going to cook a Easter dinner. Cook some chicken and potatoes and vegetables for the girls, myself, and then that's quite a nice balance. Do anything, make sure, and when you cut the chicken off, just make sure you're eating enough.
Yeah, and
I'll have probably 150 grams of chicken. My meal. The girls are, each have a lot less. Yeah,
because I think if you're tracking with a weighing scale or portion control, I guess once the food is there with the family, it's easy for you to sort of know you're having a palm of this, a thumb of whatever, and it just becomes
once you've weighed a meal once, it's easy to. I can pretty good at eyeballing things now and go, I know roughly how much that is. And then if I put it on the scale, I'll probably match what I think it is. Like things like potatoes and stuff, roast potatoes, I'll be able to work out. I'm gonna have 100 grams of those, 150 grams of chicken, a load of vegetables. I'm weighed, and I'll know that's a decent meal. The girls want Yorkshire pudding, so I make those. But generally, once you weigh a meal once, or twice, you get an idea of what your portion should be.
Yeah.
You then every meal you just sort of keep. Every time you have that meal, you keep to it. That's kind of what I need to do to be it maintenance or deficit or surplus or whatever. Keep that for that set period of time.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you are the one cooking and making family dinners, you know, then it's, you know, it could be quite easy for you to pack the leftovers for lunch the next day for work. You know, if you are working in an office, you know, I always think planning and preparing is key. And in a way, office life does lend itself well, you know, to having quite, you know, consistent meals, because you just make sure you pack a very, you know, a balanced meal in the morning or the night before after dinner, put it in the fridge ready to go the next day, and then there's no excuses. You're not stuck at work feeling hungry and then maybe making, you know, a poorer choice. So,
and the other thing I would add to that is use meal times as exercise times as well, in the fact that once you've eaten, go get 10 minutes of steps, 15 minutes, go for a walk, help digest your food. It's really nice to have a family meal and maybe go for a walk as a family. I mean, that's a lovely thing to do. You know, I've done it at things like Christmases and stuff, where you might go take the dogs out after Christmas lunch, dinner, you know, and I know people who do that as a family, you know, and that's quite a good way. If you do that every meal, so breakfast, you eat your breakfast, you go 15 minutes of walking, and then lunch, you know, don't sit and eat lunch at your desk, or if you do, get up and then go for a walk. You know, often it might be nice to get out of the office, go for a 7.5-minute walk somewhere, and walk 7.5 minutes back. You've done 50 minutes of steps, you've eaten some food, away from the desk. Before you know it, you've done a load of steps a day.
I think that's fabulous. So with the nutrition, you don't need to do anything complicated. You know, your family can still eat what you normally eat, but just really work on the consistency. You know, a lot of people think that's just so simple, but they don't have it. They're skipping meals or just it's all over the place. So really focus on getting in those like 3 main balanced meals. And then if you want to, 1 or 2 sort of high protein snacks, and really focus on that protein, you know, especially if you want to build some muscle. So I think for the training, like we said, if you can either invest in a personal trainer or get a program written for you, you've got 4 days a week. I would probably do 2 lower, 2 upper. For
exactly.
that,
That's what I was going to say. Split into upper, lower, rest, upper, lower.
So again, keep it simple, but you know, if you want to do a pull-up, that needs to be programmed in there, you know.
A week, first session, upper, and first exercise, try and do assisted pull-ups. You're in a gym with an assisted thing, or use a band. You know, because you're better off. That's a good warm-up exercise anyway for the rest of your training, because it hits the most muscles in like a back thing. So I would probably do that as my first exercise on my first session of the week when I'm most rested, and then from there, you know, use it as a couple of sets of assisted. Slowly bring down the level of the assistance until you can actually do 1 unassisted pull-up and then do the rest assisted, or then change up balance. So you start doing more unassisted to assisted.
And I guess you can put that training into strength and hypertrophy phases.
100%.
Focusing more, I'd say, on the compound lifts if you can. You know, the basics. Squat, hinge, pull, push. What's the other ones? Carry. And then add in your accessories. And I would also say maybe cut down a bit on the bootcamp stuff and focus on the strength and hypertrophy first. And then as you go along, depending on how you recover and steps you're making and, you know, the progress you're making, then slowly you can add back, you know, if you like a certain class and you enjoy it and it makes you feel like you want to go to the gym, throw it back in, see how you recover from that, and then slowly just make
that's what I was going to say. You use that class as your cardio. Have that on top of what you're doing. 1 class a week maybe, or a couple of classes if you're recovering okay. You know, and then, because, you know, reality is there's no such thing as toning, as we always discuss. It's building muscle. build muscle, you need to be progressively overloading. You need that, mechanical failure, tension, all the stuff we've talked about previously. You then, you just don't get those in group sessions.
Yeah.
You'll feel a burn, and it's kind of almost a pump thing in some of these circuit classes, but actually it's a cardio session.
Yeah.
You will lose, and people will tone up because they lose body fat, but they never quite have, the physique they want, because they won't have a muscle definition. You want a set of glutes, you're going to have to grow those. You want, some shoulders, you're going to have to grow the muscle. So, use group classes as cardio, and then you adjust your calories accordingly on those days. Because the thing is, too many people just want to jump into a deficit.
Yeah.
And they nail themselves with a huge deficit, and they run themselves into the ground, the wheels fall off, and they end up binge eating or everything else. When in fact, you're better off slight deficit or maintenance. I would always start everyone with maintenance, try and recomp, and then often put calories up for a lot of women. You better increase the gym session, like the actual intensity of a gym session. When you're doing progressive overload, that is a lot more intense than a group session. Yeah. And then I would add the group sessions back in as cardio. So then we can increase the calories a little bit more.
Yeah, because she's done the group sessions for way too long. So I feel like it's like Clea said, but now she's probably at a plateau. Like if you use 2 kilo dumbbells or doing whatever, the same movement for months and months, eventually your body, I guess, gets adapted to that stimulus you're trying to give it. So for sure, if she started doing the strength stuff or hypertrophy training, you'll get stronger and you'll just start feeling better. You'll see your body changing.
You'll see change for sure.
Yeah, and this is a thing that people don't realize. You build more muscle, you naturally will burn a lot more calories just living. Going to sleep at night, you'll burn more calories than you did before you have that muscle. Yeah. So therefore, your calories get to go up, and you get to have actually better food, like as in more calorie dense food. You get to enjoy things with your family, because if you get your body as a woman eating at a maintenance of 2,500 calories, that's a lot of food in a day for a lot of people. A lot of people are used to having 1,000 calories of food, but once you build a bit of muscle and you've got the exercise to use that, those calories. You get to have a better life around food. And you get to appreciate food and get a better relationship with food.
Because I think people, and I guess it's also a social media thing, people eat so little, and sometimes it could even be a goal to just eat more food and enjoy it. It could be one of your main goals, and who's to say you can't do that? So only thing is you have to build a bit more muscle for you to
so, and I just think it would be, if you can get an in-person personal trainer to start with, because the movements will be, I think they'll be very different to group classes. So I would start with a personal trainer and someone who can help push you, because I know working with a lot of women, they're scared to push themselves with heavy weights because they're so used to light weights in the group classes. I mean, relatively light weights anyway.
Yeah, relative. It's relative.
All relative. So work with someone to push you, because you do need to push the weight, to build the muscle, and it's a long process. So you've got to be in it for the long run. And I think definitely with this goal is to work at maintenance calories,
exactly.
For sure.
Especially initially, see how your body responds. Actually, I heard the best advice today. I was listening to a podcast earlier. And the advice was, what would you do? The question was, what would you do if you're a newbie to progressive overload or weight training, and you wanted to maximize the benefits? And the advice given was, find a training partner who's further along in the journey than you, who knows how to train properly, and train with them. Because they will, like, if you find a woman who's a physique you admire and she's willing to train with you, I would latch onto that person, because yes, your body may not respond as that identical, but if they already know how to train, they'll be able to push you to that point where you need to be. And it's hard. People are so scared of weights reaching failure. Amount of people who don't even know what failure is. I've had people, I've trained on, I was a bit scared to go any higher.
Yeah.
Well, don't be. Just keep your form correct. And if you need to ditch a weight, but get used to that. That's what you have to learn to do.
Yeah.
And being able to push yourself to when you want to quit. Have someone shouting in your ear to push those extra 2 reps,
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you also, I guess, you have to learn what intensity is. So
exactly.
It's not like we're saying go into the gym day one and, just train intensely. So yeah, look for someone who'll push you. Like, Clear makes me
getting a sweat. It's not, people think the gym is about coming in and getting a sweat and being tired or feeling a burn. It's not that. That can be part of it, but there's more, there's more to progressive overload and lifting than, feeling the pump or feeling the burn.
Yeah.
It's about taking your body somewhere it hasn't been before every single session. And that's relative, as Clear was saying. If you started off, you can start off with 2 kg dumbbells. That's relatively heavy for you.
Yeah.
Crack it. I love that because that means you can progress so much more. If you go into a gym and you're already really strong, it's harder to progress because you're already on these big weights. The increments are massive, and you get a lot less out of it. But to build your strength from the ground up is key. And it's actually super. I've heard this from many women: the empowerment of becoming stronger.
Huge.
Knowing that you're stronger as a person. You are not getting bulky. Like all these women who think they're going to touch a weight and become Ronnie Coleman.
I wish.
Or, Iris Kyle even. You're not going to look like a dude. You're not going to have all the Iris Kyle muscle. It's just to you to do that, you got to eat a hell of a lot and probably do a bit of anabolics, right? So don't look at female bodybuilders and think that's just for lifting weights.
Yeah, that's not.
Female bodybuilders, like at the top end, like women's physique and women's bodybuilding is extreme.
Very.
You need to, have a look at women's bikini in figure and wellness, and then you'll see actually very feminine looks. Figure very feminine still. Wellness, bigger legs, bigger glutes, good quads, small upper body, skinny, very balanced. Have a look at those and you'll realise still very feminine. And those women are lifting some serious weights sometimes.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. So yeah, I think to round that all up, it can be hard. It can be hard leaving the group sort of training mindset. But I think if you want to achieve the goals that you've said, you are ready. You are ready for a specific program with progressive overload. As we suggested, 2 lower sessions a week, 2 upper body sessions a week, and start logging your food on your phone, wherever. If you want to use MyFitnessPal loosely, you can. You might want to just start, maybe just weighing your protein to make sure that you're getting in enough. You can go and find your predicted maintenance calories online, TDEE, just to get a vague idea of what someone your age, height, sex, etc. should be eating. And then if you are loosely tracking, you can see where you are. I would say, just judging by the information you've given us, you probably do eat at maintenance. So it could be now just to work on consistency and making sure you're getting in enough protein. And you'll find that with the training to accompany that, you will see the desired changes. And I would stick with that strength and hypertrophy for quite a long time. I would go for 6 months there, see how your body composition changes. And then if you want to, maybe go into a slight deficit to get a bit more ab definition, then go into it. But I wouldn't go into that first. I will concentrate on building your strength and some muscle.
Yeah, and build your ab muscles. Do proper ab sessions. Because you can lose weight and your abs won't be so prominent because you've never exercised them.
Yeah.
It's a muscle like any muscle.
Great. Well, gents, anything else to add there, or should we go to our...
No, I think the key thing you knocked on there that people forget is consistency.
Yeah.
And when people are busy and you're a parent and you've got a job, it's really easy to lose consistency over a small thing. Like your kid's got a club after school thing you've got to drive them to, or, party, and you end up missing a meal, or you end up picking at something and grazing. So as a parent, you've got to be a bit more mindful, especially as a working parent, you've got to be mindful of what you're consuming and when, because, your time's finite, and, it's easy to slip into inconsistency.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Next case study. Well, I think we will only have time for 2, as usual. We talk a lot.
Well, it's a series, so at least now we know we can be doing 2 case studies.
I love this because it just applies. There's always something in there that applies to everyone, or you can relate to.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. Next lady, gents, where you at?
Got one from a Jen, and there's not the greatest.
Well, let's see. Maybe when you see how cool this is, you'll send in yours. All right. Next lady is 45 years old. She's 5'1", short people. Yes. And her last weigh-in, which was in, February, is that 27th or February 17th this year, was, let's just round that up, 65 kilos. She works a desk job. So pre-COVID, she did cardio and weights at home, averaging 3 to 4 times a week. March 2020, September 2020, she did bodyweight workouts as part of an online training group. November 2020 to March 2020, she worked with a trainer 3 times a week, strength training, weights and body weight, and once a week boxing. Her nutrition history, IF, so intermittent fasting all through 2020, macro guided since January using MyFitnessPal. Her current training is 5 times a week with 1 cardio and 4 strength, divided into upper and lower using free weights, machine, and body weight. Her current nutrition, she macro aware, okay, but not tracking since end of February, no alcohol for 60 days. She eats relatively balanced meals 3 times a day, sometimes only twice because of work and she's not hungry. She says she's aware she could do with more plant and animal protein. She has just started to use a plant-based protein powder. She is allergic to milk. So her goal is weight loss. So she was last weighed in at 65. She wants to be 56, build muscle and strength. So she wants to be 56 kilos by the time she's 46, which is this September. Okay, so that's 6 months. So that is like the number one goal. Everyone says they want to lose fat and build muscle. So we wish, and it can happen, but generally concentrate on one goal at a time. And since you want to weigh 56 kilos by September, fat loss will be your goal. I would say there.
It's very healthy. It's a very the goal of losing, what's that, 10 kg in 6 months is a very nice goal.
That's what I did.
About 3.6 pounds a month.
I would only be worried.
Good math.
I would be worried though, because I did find out what her predicted maintenance is, and that's 2,300. If you're eating 2 meals a day, there ain't no way you're hitting 2,300 calories.
No, that's the other bit I was going to say. It's a good goal, but intermittent fasting is not the best. It's okay for longevity reasons, and there's some good studies, but for building muscle, it is absolutely terrible. And even for keeping things like your ghrelin and leptin levels, your hormones that control your hunger in check, is actually quite bad, because what happens is you suppress those and they rebound hard, and you get a lot hungrier later, so it becomes easy to overcompensate.
And also, I just wanted to ask, like maybe she'll listen to the podcast, I hope, and she'll be able to answer, but why the number 56 kilos? What if you get your desired sort of physique at 60 kilos? maybe you're stronger at 60, because I
it
don't
can look
think,
completely different. I agree with you. Yeah.
Because muscle building doesn't work like, I'm 90 kilos, so I think I'll look good at 80. Like it's very, I guess, genetically based, so you can't really, it's good to have weight targets, but I guess weight loss and muscle building are a bit different, because if it's weight loss, it's easy. You can drop. But
I think, and this is what people make mistake. I've said this on my podcast before. It's not about weight loss. It's about fat loss and muscle retention. You want to keep muscle. You want to lose weight without losing muscle. So you need to just lose body fat. Now, and you're right, Leon, weight isn't equal between muscle and fat. So you lose body fat, but you've gained muscle. Your weight may not change on paper, but the way you look has changed huge.
Yeah. It's
in 6 months, you can really almost keep your weight stable whilst losing a lot of body fat, but gaining muscle. Because she seems like especially if she started eating properly, she'll have a lot of newbie gains, because everything will be more structured, and you'll gain a lot from just having certain structures put in place. So you will gain muscle while being in a sort of low deficit, sort of a maintenance zone. You'll, if you start increasing, as we said in the previous case study, you start increasing, weight intensity in the gym, progressive overload. You bring these new factors into play. Your muscle will have a new stimulus, and that new stimulus will build muscle, and at the same time, you'll be burning more calories.
Yeah, and I think also, like Clea said, for her, she's doing IF, and her calculated maintenance is 2,300 calories, and you're trying to build muscle, burn fat. For her, I doubt she's recovering well, because that's way too definitely not hitting protein targets. Oh, you're back.
No,
I was just saying,
it's very conflicted, the goals there. So I think you've got a good training base as well. You've trained throughout COVID, so well done. That's amazing. I think that's fabulous, and you have the skills to use MyFitnessPal. So I think because your goal is quite specific, I would go back to tracking properly. So first up, take the next week or the next 10 days, next 2 weeks, track everything and see where your actual maintenance is. If it is super low, if it's 1,500, your goal of fat loss might just have to wait. And I would spend time reverse dieting closer to your maintenance calories. And again, with following a very good structured strength and hypertrophy program, you will see some body recomposition working in your favor there. So it'll all depend on that starting point of where you're at. So if you're not doing IF for any other reason than, everyone just does it because, it's cool, I would really
people think they're doing it to lose weight. People think it's like some sort of weight loss magic bullet, but it really isn't. It's kind of self-defeating.
So reevaluate why you're doing that. Breakfast is amazing, and if even when you are in a deficit, getting in protein consistently throughout the day is going to help you retain your muscle
big time.
So find where your maintenance is. If it's, I would say 1,500, you're going to have to spend time bringing it back up to maintenance. But if you follow a good program, you're not going to gain fat. Well, you're minimal.
Well, if you're training with the correct intensity, again, you need to learn what that is. If you're pushing yourself really hard in the gym, your maintenance will be up there. You're burning enough calories. What happens is people have their calories, but actually they're not working hard enough to use those calories efficiently.
Yeah, and because you've highlighted, you think you need more protein, so your protein is probably pretty low. We're roughly about the same height. I have about 160 grams of protein a day. So you might want to work on that. So having a vegan protein powder is a good step.
The other thing I was going to bring up is she doesn't have whey because she says she's allergic to milk. Now, we talked about this in a food intolerances one with Ashley. The fact is, have you actually been tested for that? Because there's different parts of milk. So you've got lactose, which is the main one people are allergic to. But actually, if you have a whey isolate, there shouldn't be any lactose in a whey isolate powder. So if you can have a whey isolate, you should be fine if you're lactose intolerant. If you've got lactose intolerance issues, a whey isolate should still be fine.
Yeah.
If you're allergic to whey itself, then that's an issue. But I would avoid complete protein, like a complete sort of whey mix, one of those composite whey. It's got a bit of everything in.
Yeah.
They often have milk solids in there. But if you have an isolated whey isolate,
should be good.
You probably should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worth investing in a good quality one. So if you track your calories and you're pretty close, if you're at 2,000, that's okay. Then I would go into a deficit, and I would maybe I usually start with cutting 400 calories, and then just see how your body responds from there. Track your body weight, see how you go with that. And you can lose a decent amount of fat by September. If you're going for that sort of half a kilo-ish per week, that's very sustainable. You might want, every 5-6 weeks, have a couple of refeed days to see how you feel. And like Leon said, if you might hit 58 kilos and be like, hey, this is nice. Then that's great. Then reverse diet and maintain and carry on, trying to build some muscle there.
But but also I'll stress again, if like Clea said, if you can't just, change from that IF, because there's a statement, she says she never really feels hungry, so she doesn't eat, but she's training 5 times a week.
And that's a sign of under eating often.
Yeah, I would argue, I always say we eat to fuel the workout. The whole purpose of our meals is to have top gym performance. Every time you step into the gym and lift the weights, that should be your maximum effort. And you need calories in to do that. If you're missing meals and training,
you
won't have the best training, and you won't hit those goals, and your muscles won't feel affected. So, it's a case of eating for performance, I would say.
Yeah, and her training split sounds pretty good. 2 lower, 2 upper, 1 boxing.
Yeah, that's actually
a bit of boxing for cardio. Lovely.
Fabulous.
I wouldn't change that.
So just make sure, that your actual sessions are quality. You're not just I don't know what.
It's like
did she say she's doing? Hang on.
It's that one.
Maybe we'd probably need to know, is it like a proper program that you're following?
Or you just
progressing? Are you actually progressing?
Yeah.
Because it'd be nice.
Are you just doing the same workout day in, day out, every week, the same upper, using the same weights? You've never progressed to heavier weights. And I've seen this in gyms. Every time I've been to a commercial gym and trained for any period of time, you see the same people coming in, picking up the same weights, doing the same exercise. Nothing ever changes, and their bodies never change because of that. They wonder why.
Yeah, and also you find even maybe the trainer helping them is also scared to, give that extra push. So it becomes like, I guess I've seen it written a lot of times, you end up working out rather than training. So maybe
exactly.
You're
not there to socialize. If you want to socialize, there's better places than the gym.
Like group classes.
Go to group class, have fun. Go to CrossFit, have fun. That's enjoyable. Because you're with people, but train.
Yeah. No, well, she sounds dedicated.
Sounds like she is.
Yeah.
Just making sure that she's progressing. She's not scared to add 1 kg or 2 kg to any weight, or 500 grams, or whatever it may be. just to keep going and making a little bit of progress.
Yeah, because her split is good. Do a lower, upper box, maybe another lower, upper, or even rest in between.
See, this is what I'd be worried about, because boxing itself, if you're doing pad work with someone,
you need
that burns a lot of calories. Now, if you're already in a very low calorie situation, you're going to get yourself quite sick, as in like your body gets run down, you pick up injuries, because you're not getting enough fuel in there.
Yeah.
It's like trying to drive a Ferrari on a thimble full of petrol.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on, is it boxing or like boxercise? It's like, is it
another group session? Either way, you just got to bear in mind the calories you are doing. I always say we don't use cardio to burn calories.
Nope.
Yeah, we control food to control calories. Cardio is used for keeping your heart healthy.
Yeah.
And assisting metabolism.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, you're 45, 46, you might be going through perimenopause or menopause. But as we have said here before, that, that hormones, they might complicate the situation, but it's not going to stop the fundamentals of fat loss. So, but it's just good to keep that in mind. And if you have been chronically undereating and overtraining, you've got to work on your hormone health as well, and that is generally maintenance calories. So it's great to have a physique goal, but sometimes your health should come first. If you're in your late 40s, focus on that as well. And often by focusing on that, you will get to your aesthetic goal anyway.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, well, anything else to add on that one?
No. I think,
well, both of those ladies, it's thank you so much for sending those in. And if you ever want online trainers, you can work with all three of us. We would love to help you.
It's very, very, like, I think we've already, all three of us in our heads, we've already come up with like a program. And
well, there's nothing, I feel like all of us are so passionate about, helping women to not be afraid of eating and getting strong, because that will, like I just said, often get you to your physique goal, without you focusing and sort of.
I love programming for women. You see changes quicker than men, because often, as you said, undereating, under protein, combined with under training, where women can take on a lot more volume. So you can see a massive change in a woman's physique in a short period of time. And that's quite rewarding as a coach.
Very. And women are dedicated.
True.
100%. Once women embark on stuff, they go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it just shows both these case studies are women. Gents, you got your own plan going? What are you all doing?
Yeah, let's hope the next series we can get.
What I was trying to say on my Instagram stories, it's like getting free coaching. I get tapped up in my DMs by young guys who can't afford coaching, trying to get free advice. And I'm like, look, just listen to the podcast. There's so much, there's hours and hours of content. You can listen to us back to back for days. It'd be horrible, but
if you wanted to.
But the podcast is amazing. Anytime I get questions like, what should I do? What supplement should I take? What should I do to work on recovery? I'm like, link.
This is an episode where if people send us their case studies, we would do it more often. But you basically getting free coaches giving you coaching advice.
Yeah, because you can come up with a good program just from the, I guess you can make your own notes and follow them from just what we've, like the two ladies easily can just make their own notes and work.
And probably, we'll touch base with them anyway.
Yeah.
And then, we've just the key points out of the thing and say, listen to the podcast. These are the key feedback. And it's beneficial. If they want more, we can obviously tap us up for coaching inquiries. But generally, it's this is an opportunity for a lot of people. And the guys are jumping on board with it as much as ladies have. There was obviously that one guy who slid into the DMs with which wasn't, particular. If you want to learn, if he's listening, you want to learn handstands, just keep practicing handstands.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way. Any sort of plyometric or, calisthenic things, it's just specific. Just keep practicing.
Yeah, skill specific.
I'm shocked there's no one, like with a prep question or.
Well, no, it's probably because the show's just been. I bet you if we'd done this one a month ago, there'd be people panicking about their prep not going to.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They're all tapping us in.
Yeah.
Because I did see, there's some great physiques at the last show. There's also some people that were undertired or were flat because they didn't refeed properly, or they ran themselves down quickly, and it takes too long to refill back up, and you won't. People don't know this.
A lot of guys did the same mistake I did first 2 shows over cardio.
Exactly. You run your body flat, and then it's almost impossible then to refeed the muscle and bounce back. Yeah,
because you're not going to be able to fill up in 3 to 4 days over peak week. So
if you've been running flat for months on end, this isn't an excuse to refeed. It's an excuse to come in slowly rather than giving yourself just 8 weeks and trying to bang calories down, increase cardio through the roof.
Yeah,
you're going to flatten out if you're not careful. And then, especially if you're someone like me who's an asymmetric fat holder, where the best people are people who hold fat across their body, because as you lose weight, it goes from everywhere, and you keep steady. The problem with someone like me is I hold it in just one place. Like my shoulders and chest could be super lean, but I've got my lower abs are covered with a roll of body fat. But so with that, to lose that body fat, stubborn. So I have to almost shrink everything. So I have to come in, go to maintenance, go down again, maintenance. Because otherwise, everything else will just go flat, and I'll eventually lose that bit of body fat. But everything else has suffered. I've lost muscle mass.
Yeah, maybe when the world is more open and more shows come, maybe we'll get guys.
Yeah.
Getting
guys and girls.
Right. Well, I hope.
Yeah.
No. I was going to speak, but it wasn't.
No.
I was going to say guys and girls. Although I'm not an expert on women's prep. Women's prep in general. There's some solid principles there, but a lot of women are being poorly coached into shows. I've seen it.
Yeah,
and it's disappointing because you got to be careful who you take advice from.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's key.
Yeah.
So. Well, thanks again, ladies, for sending in those case studies, and
thank you.
I hope everyone has found this helpful. And if you like it, let us know, because we can do more.
Yeah, we hope to do more.
We hope
probably
to do more.
Be part of our series. So we're going to force it in and make it part of a podcast series.
Yeah, always squeeze in a couple of these. I think they're quite useful.
Yeah, I've already made for guys interested in also the other case study. If you just go to YouTube playlists, there's the case study series. So click and it's still one of the most viewed and listened to.
Wow.
So,
okay. Well, hopefully then this one will be with real people.
Yeah.
And everyone, feel free to watch YouTube. I know we've got more listeners than viewers by quite a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Easter Sunday, because we will be uploading this today.
Oh, yeah.
Well, enjoy your Easter hunt, Andy, and your roast. Nice.
Yeah, the roast will be good. I'm just going to get the girls on, get me our barbells out, some deadlifts and squats for girls to earn clues, to earn chocolate.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And some sprints.
Okay.
Sprinting, yeah.
All right. See you next
week.
Bye.